So I've become afraid to share my art, and maybe you are in the same situation. Maybe you feel afraid to share your artwork as well. Then this conversation is meant for you. So I've had a look at my Instagram account recently. I was scrolling down and I realized, hey, I have started hiding my artwork, hiding my paintings. It is not even obvious anymore when you go to my Instagram account that I am a painter. And the strange thing is, I didn't realize that this was happening. Now that I realized it, I was keen on figuring out why this has happened and how to fix this. Because, well, maybe you know this feeling. When it comes to the moment of sharing your piece, there is something holding you back. Yeah, tell me in the comments if you recognize this feeling. You create something with all your heart and you feel good while doing it, in the process of it. And then there's the finished thing, and then it comes to the moment that now's the time to share it with the world. Especially if you are an artist selling your work, then it's non-negotiable. You have to share it. You have to make it visible in order to be able to sell it. So I think I realized finally what the thing is that is holding me back. And I'm gonna share this with you further on in the video. But just to have a short recap on how this has happened to me, so you get a bit of an idea. I've been working as a self-employed painter now for 10 years actually. Oh my god. So I have been sharing my artwork before. I have been active on Instagram, and I had a look at my account today to see how long it's ago that I launched my last collection of artworks, and I'm kind of shocked and I'm kind of embarrassed to say it, but it's been 2.5 years. So for 2.5 years I have not made a new collection of paintings. And that's also those 2.5 years where I started slowly hiding my paintings, not really making them very visible anymore. That's because I have had a few disappointing launches, and I kept feeling that insecurity about my work. And it was really getting to me, you know? Of course, when a collection launch doesn't go the way you imagine it and you don't really sell as many works as you would like, or maybe even none. I had that happening as well quite a few times. Like, you make a whole collection and then you have this whole plan to launch and you are very active on Instagram, and then on the day that you put all your work online, nothing happens. Like, really nothing. There's not one sale. It's devastating, and it kind of made me hate Instagram, to be honest, a little bit. I was very fed up with it, and I guess I was kind of blaming it, which is not fair. Because when I look at the statistics, whenever I have sold a painting, it has been sold either through Instagram, mostly when sharing things in my stories, or I have sold paintings in person, on in-person events that people could come to see my artwork in real life somewhere, and they could have a chat with me and I could talk about my work to the people directly, and then they would buy it as well, which is wild to me because I really don't feel like a very skilled person to be very chatty and sell my work in person. It doesn't feel very natural to me. So that's good to know for anyone. If you doubt yourself whether if you feel like, oh, I could never do that, that's exactly the way I feel as well. But somehow, if you just stay true to yourself, and if you're really enthusiastic about a piece of art that you created, that enthusiasm will be transferred to the person you're talking to, and that's all you need, I guess. So if you're longer on my channel, if this is not your first time, then you probably know me from my cinematic, slow living, art studio vlogs. The reason why I started filming was actually to be able to visually capture that beautiful process of the creation of earth pigments, because I paint with earth pigments. I collect them in nature, and I grind them into pigment in my studio, and I turn that into paint, and I paint with it in abstract ways. And there's so much beauty within that whole process that I thought I need to capture that to be able to share that with people, and this way I can also support my painting practice. But I realized it also was a way for me to flee from that insecurity I felt on Instagram with my paintings. Because I wasn't always confident and comfortable to share my paintings and my process, I guess, I pivoted to sharing that same feeling I get, from painting with earth pigments. It has a lot to do with connecting to nature and with feeling at peace. And so I started to create more slow living vlogs. And I still love that. I'm not saying that I'm quitting that, but a few months ago I came at a point that I realized that I was more and more walking away from my art practice. And there was a person commenting on my YouTube videos, and that person said, well, you always show how you work on your paintings, but we never get to see the finished work. And when I read that, it instantly hurt. It hurt to read that, and I've chosen to ignore that comment for a while, but it stayed with me in my head. And after that initial feeling of hurt was a little bit calmer, I could actually look at it and think, that person is right. I'm showing so much of the process because that feels safe. And I know it's beautiful to look at, and I wasn't feeling safe with my finished artworks. A lot of the time I would finish a piece of art and then I would feel good about it for a few days. And after a short while, I don't know, something would happen and I would see it again and I would think, it's not good enough. It's still not good enough. A few months ago, I was so fed up with exactly that feeling and with that incredibly annoying and anxiety producing insecurity about my art, because I don't want to stop painting. I love it so much. And when I realized that I was moving so far away from it, and then that I started hiding it online, that I made it more and more invisible, I said no. I need to stop right here and I need to change something. So what I did is I promised myself to create a new collection again. And I'm so happy I did. I promised myself to really, really focus on painting again, to really deep dive into my skill in creating beautiful abstract earth pigment art. I was dreaming of creating natural paintings, you know, non-toxic paintings, sustainable paintings. I wanted to see how far away I can actually get from acrylics and how natural my paintings could be and still be beautiful, you know, and not fall apart after a week. And so there's a whole research needs to be done. Experiments have to be done to get there, and I am so incredibly happy right now that I did that, because they are right here with me now, and my dream of creating natural paintings has become a reality. Whew, kind of emotional. But it wasn't easy, because my YouTube channel suffered immediately, which was so hard to let that happen. I really have to spend a lot of time on those paintings right now to get that done. It's so important to me, and that's why I decided at the moment I cannot film my usual art studio slow living vlogs, but I can at least every once in a while sit down with you to talk about these things, these hard things, those lessons, I guess, I'm experiencing as an artist, trying to make a living from her art. So why do we hide our art? You know, it's because sharing your art is something so personal. It is like a part of your soul. As an artist, we put our deepest feelings, desires, vulnerable experiences in our lives. We all put that into our artworks. And then sharing that on social media, on Instagram, for example, in the form of a post or a reel, that is so fleeting, and it feels, at least to me, it feels like I cannot. It's almost impossible to put that depth, that feeling, all the everything you put into that work. It's impossible to capture that in a post or a reel, and you know that it will just, you post it and it will disappear in a couple of days. Instagram will not show it to anyone anymore, and people can only discover it on your profile if they really are into it, you know. It feels like it doesn't give the right, how do I say that? It feels like, well, you know, your artwork deserves more than to be turned into a post, I guess. But that's maybe because I've looked at it kind of wrong. I always felt uncomfortable to share a work multiple times. And that's so stupid, because I mean, that's part of the social media game, especially on Instagram, especially with such a fleeting visual platform, you know. I've been acting kind of stupid about it. I realize now. I would post a piece of art. I would feel very vulnerable about it, because, you know, it means a lot. It took me a lot of time to get there, and then I share it, and then it's like 10 likes, maybe someone says one comment, oh how nice, or something, and then it's done. And that I would let that get to me so much. Somehow I I would treat it like it's the jury. Like if that decides whether the artwork is good or not, which is so stupid. I'm glad I can see that now. Because the worth of your artwork is not at all, not in the slightest, created or dependent on how many likes or how many comments you get on it on your social media, because the value of your work is created by you, it's within your heart, and that is something that cannot be taken away from you. And if you want to sell your work, then it's your job to find the other soul that can see the value of it like you do. But you have to be able to feel the value, to see the value of your own work. And it's not created by the reaction of other people online. That's just not the case. It has to come from inside of you, from yourself. And that's also the only way that you can, like I said, like when I sold paintings in person and I was able to transfer the enthusiasm, the love that I had for the piece to that other person who would then buy the artwork. It's the same with social media. That's all we have to do, is to speak about it and to show up for our work because it deserves it. But then you have to get to the point where you can feel like this, where you actually fully feel like it deserves to be seen. It's a part of you that deserves to be seen. It always will be a bit scary because it's so personal. Aren't we all kind of afraid of rejection and failure and stuff like that? But so I promised you in the beginning of the video that I would share with you what I think is the reason and what I think is the cure to the thing that is holding you back from actually really sharing your artwork, sharing it confidently, sharing it multiple times, sharing it as long as it's needed to be shared to get it in front of the right person, you know, so that it can be sold. And of course the thing that holds you back is that feeling of insecurity, but that insecurity can be rooted in different areas. And I think there are two main areas that we have to get into as artists, and that's story and skill. I think if you have those two really figured out to a point that you are happy with it, that you feel like, yes, this is what I want to share with the world, this is the story I want to tell, this is what's important to me, and now I practiced enough, and I experimented enough, and I figured out a way to create a skill for myself to more often get to end results that actually make me happy, feel happy, joyful and confident when I look at them for longer than just a few days. Yeah, if you have those two figured out, then you feel more confident about your artwork, and then it's way easier to actually share it. Yeah, I've noticed that shift inside of me, and I'm so excited about it. Like, well, my little art studio is a room within my house, and I noticed that first thing in the morning when I get out of bed, I want to be in this room, you know. I open that door, and when I open the door, this is the wall I see in front of me, and every time I look at it now, I get this huge smile on my face, and it's been for multiple weeks now that this smile had stayed there. When I look at the paintings that I recently created, I finally feel really, really good about them, and I'm very excited to be sharing them with the world soon. You know, I'm really done hiding. I really am. And maybe it's time for you as well to stop hiding, because, you know, art is created with so much love and curiosity and joy, and sharing your artwork is sharing that love. And if I know one thing for certain, then it's that this world definitely needs more love in it. So it's always worth sharing your artwork.